Hey everyone, welcome into Demon's Dominion. We have a special broadcast today where I will be working on this bad boy here in my kitchen for you guys today, where I will be upgrading that with an additional radiator and a few other knick-knack things going in there too. So this should be a fun day for sure. I have my entire kitchen to work in and this will probably take 2 days, so it'll be 2 back-to-back day streams of me trying to complete this. And yeah, it's going to be interesting for sure. Obviously I don't have any kind of startup scenes or anything like that. I've stripped my whole entire stream down to just having cams, and this is what I ended up with basically. So welcome in everyone. We're gonna try to get started. First things first, we're gonna end up draining the loop and then proceeding to strip out all the radiators and everything out of it and clean everything up. So today is really gonna be trying to figure out the loop order and cleaning, and I have a front distribution plate that's going in the Thermaltake View 51. So we'll be waiting, I'll be putting that in today. And that is basically what I'm trying to accomplish, is definitely trying to get that front distribution plate in so that way I can really plan out the loop and then hopefully show you guys how it's all going to look and get a sense of it. And if anybody's got any ideas about how the order of things are once we kind of get some stuff, that front distribution plate is going to be a deciding factor for sure. So I'm excited to get this started. It's been a while trying to gather up all the parts. I bought the front distribution plate ages ago, so I'm like really looking forward to trying to get this in for sure. Hopefully the audio sounds good. I am in my kitchen, so it's going to be sounding really echoey because it's a bigger open space up here, like our living room's on the other side of the cameras and such. And you know, it's just big and open. It's not sound treated. There's no carpeting on the floors or anything like that, so it probably will be a little loud in here. For the most part, but hopefully the lavalier mic I got borrowed will help compensate that, and it allows me some free movement in here without me having to shout at the cameras or whatever. You should be able to hear me really well, and I'll be moving back between this. I have a dining room table, so I have a hey, what's going on, Corbin? Welcome in, sir. I have a camera here. This is my iPhone that's going to be acting as a handheld, so there's going to be a little bit of lag and everything, so we'll kind of go from there. Hey, what's going on, Deacon? Yeah, I'm going to be upgrading the water cooling in this computer over here, so let me flip over to the sync cam. So what you'll see over here is I've got a Thermaltake View 51. It's kind of laid out like the Lian Li 011 series there. You get kind of something in the front, bottom, top, and a side. The only thing different from the Lian Li is the fact that they put 200 millimeter fans in front, and I took those out and dropped in these. The Lian Li typically does not have the ability to put fans in the front of that particular case. This basically is a little bit larger and it helps with that. But I'm going to be adding a third radiator into this and a front distribution plate, so it'll have a ton of water in this thing. First things first though, I need to drain this. So the objective today is to drain, get the front distribution plate in, and then proceed to put everything else in there. I have some new Commander Pros for wiring up all these fans. They put out a new edition of it, so hopefully this will clean up. I've got like tons of these little RGB boxes and stuff in there for all the wiring for all the fans and stuff. In this case, it's a mess. So I'm looking forward to this. It's been a long time coming. I'm like checking on the camera, making sure. I'm using a spare iPhone over for this camera, for the sync cam, and it's attached to my microwave, by the way. That's above the stove, so it gives me this nice angle. And I've got 2 My Brios sitting up over on the kitchen island there, and then a handheld iPhone that I'll be using. It'll have some lag in it just because it's not wired, it's working over the wireless, but it'll give some chances for me to like get into this and show everything. So the build that I'm working with, it's in a Thermaltake View 51 case. I have a 3900X in there. I have 32 gigs of 3600 Trident Neo Z RAM or whatever, CL16, a 1 terabyte NVMe and another NVMe, a 2 terabyte one for bulk of my game storage. 3080 in there. It's an MSI edition, Gaming Trio X or whatever like that. It has a water block on there, so CPU is water cooled and the GPU is water cooled. My GPU stays really cold. The only thing that kind of gets really warm is the processor, and that 3900X is a heat output for sure. So I'm going to be adding a bigger radiator, hopefully up at the top or the bottom. It definitely can't go on the side, to help compensate for that and hopefully cool it off. So my objective is to hopefully have the loop planned to allow the processor to get as much cold water as possible. I don't have even an overclock. It's just a hot damn processor. A lot of the Ryzen series is a little toastier, especially the 3000 series. The earlier ones were even worse. They're just a beast of processors and they put out a ton of heat. But even Intel's new 12th gen is a heat output for sure. Let's see here. Go to the handheld. So I have my trusty iFixit case here of all the tools. I have a magnetic tray and some Allen wrenches for some of the fittings and stuff like that need it. So I'm pretty set on tools and ready to get going with this. So we're gonna go ahead and get this draining because it's gonna take a while to tip it and get all the water out, as much as the fluid in there. This is what's in it right now is the EK Cryo Fuel. It's just clear, so I don't think shouldn't interfere with what I'm about to put in it, which is going to be this nice dark blue fluid in there. I'm excited to get that in that. And the fluid I'll be using is from AlphaCool. And it has this lovely, lovely dark blue color. This is non-UV. They do make a UV version of it. Definitely don't drink it. They have a thing out there. Do not drink this. And though this is going to go in, and I have 3 bottles of this, so it's 3 liters of fluid to go into that. And hopefully that's enough, because otherwise I bought all 3 of their bottles from Performance PCs. Thanks to Performance PCs for getting the order out to me and everything like that. And they're no way sponsored. In fact, nothing is sponsored in this video at all, including my water bottle, which is from lttstore.com. Good water bottles, by the way. They are not sponsoring. Nor is Corsair or anybody else that's in products are featured in this video. But yeah, appreciate everyone coming out. We are going to get started on this because it's going to be a long day. It's going to be 2 days of streaming on this. All right, let's flip over to the sync cam. You can see what the hell I'm doing. So any loop, the best thing to do is always have a drain port. So we have a drain. Over here it's closed off best that it can. And we're going to pull off this cap. And fit in this tube with a fitting I leave on it all the time. This is like my drain fill tube here. Now ideally you shouldn't take fluid and dump it down the drain. Is there a flushing sequence when changing original? This is interesting between colors. If you have other colors, like you're going from like orange to yellow or something like that, you're gonna wanna flush with, like, take everything out. Your blocks and stuff like that. But since I'm going from clear to blue, I shouldn't need a heavy flush. When I went from white to clear, I took my blocks apart and like clean them and before I move into clear. So you can usually take some Allen wrenches and undo a couple screws and pull it off, but you got to be careful about the O-rings. You also need to clean up underneath those and put those O-rings back in. You can get away with some of this stuff. I've got 3 gallons of distilled water to help kind of flush things out, but we're going to be able to take the radiators out primarily, and we're just going to flush them with some hot tap water, and that'll pretty much clear it out. Luckily, I shouldn't have too much buildup. We're going to find out in the GPU block. That's where it usually builds up the most. If there's any kind of particulates or anything like that, it'll usually form up in your GPU block because of its vertical flat or horizontal flat nature of it. I am flipping the graphics card in this build to vertical mount. I bought the PCI riser cable for it, and it's already had like the plate or whatever. I took it out of the case because I just wanted maximum airflow. A lot of people leave it in just because it's like a couple screws and don't feel like taking it out. But no real way to like flush everything out. All right, so also what we need to do is we need to let allowed air to come into the loop. So I've got a couple places up on top of my reservoir where I can just pull off a cap and proceed to let some air in. And it doesn't really matter, it just needs to let some in. So, oh, this is hard. I might actually, let's take this tubing off. I need to rotate it, open up that cap, and then throw this back on. We're gonna, most of this fluid you're not supposed to dump down the drain, by the way. Typically you throw it back into the bottle and then just dispose of it in the garbage or take it to some place that will handle this, because there could, the coolant and stuff in there is like antimicrobial. So therefore, you know, it's designed to keep bacteria and stuff out of your loop and keep it from corroding. And a lot of that is also like heavy metals can form up in this. So supposedly you're not supposed to just dump it down the drain. Just throw it back in the bottle and you can throw it away. You don't want it back in like our water supply or in the creeks and stuff around here. That's not good. Yes, and I know usually I'm in tune stream moderating and stuff, but today is just going to be about getting this done. All right, let's get this cap off. That's off. I'm going to be careful. A lot of it will just drain straight out, so I'm not terribly worried about having a lot in there, but the tipping is where it gets really interesting. Because you're trying to get as much of the fluid out of all the blocks and everything, as much as you can out of the radiators and stuff, and then you can kind of just start disconnecting tubes, and then kind of just tilting a little bit in there, and then you can pull the blocks and stuff out, and you're good to go. All right, here we go. Goodbye, old fluid. Let's open this up. Ooh. Oh, there it goes. And you always want to drain your loop from the lowest portion of your case. Unfortunately, the radiator is on the bottom and I can't get any lower than that, so yeah, air's flowing in. It's just liquid just coming out. Now the tricky part is trying to get this tilted and hold this bottle all at the same time. All right, here comes the fun part. We're going to tilt. I can see some fluid coming out. And we're going to tilt it back. And what you can do now is like close off. Kind of set that off to the side. This is why I do this near the sink, because it's just, if I need to, I can just dump straight into the sink. You know, like I said, not supposed to really dump this stuff down the sink, but if it's gonna go somewhere, I'd rather go in the sink than on my floor. All right, let's, I'm gonna check the front just because I wanna make sure, see how much fluid actually came out or not. All right, looks like the CPU block lost some of the fluid. I doubt the GPU lost a lot. I do have a screw like rattling in here that I need to get out. It's like stuck between the motherboard tray back here and the radiator. I was fiddling around. I had some issues a while back with my computer and found out that I had like some bad cable or something like that. And I needed to take off my M.2s. I was checking them. All right, we're getting some. Oh yeah, I hear that thing. It's rolled forward though, so it might actually be visible for me to grab that screw. Or it's somewhere in the case. I'll find it in a little while. Be like, oh, there's that screw. I'm actually trying to check it around here while I got it tilted forward. Woo! Dangerous work here, boys. Dangerous work. Of course, chat is behind me, so if y'all are going, oh God, no! Yeah, I won't know. All right, I think we got some fluid in the mix. All right, we got a little bit more out into the bottle. I said, it's a slow process trying to drain all this, but at some point it all comes out. Like I said, ideally what you're trying to figure, oh, excuse me, a little coffee burp in the morning, is trying to get as much water out from there. I think this bottom radiator is going to be the trickiest thing, ultimately, because of the tubings going into it or out of it, and it's just flat, and there's no way to get the water or the fluid up and out of that radiator. So it's probably going to need, I'm probably going to have to like take it out and just dump it straight into the sink. That may be the only thing that's going to go straight into the sink because it's going to come out on both ends and it's just going to be a mess. I do have some towels and paper towels on hand, of course. All right, so we got a good bit of the fluid out. I think I'm going to end up needing to, if I can tilt back more. This tube running to the GPU is pretty much out, so there's like a little bit of fluid in there. Could try to take the graphics card out and proceed from there. I am going to get some custom cabling done at some point. These white cables I bought as like a kit from Corsair ages ago, and they've served the purpose. But I'm ready to like complete my my color scheme, which is black and blue basically. And yeah, these need to come out at some point. All this white cabling. All right, let's see how much more fluid I can get. This is closed off. I don't want it leaking out through there. The radiator has a top mount bracket that I might be able to use to get some of this out. So let's take out these screws. I like this case. It has like a lot of trays. Like the front fans have a tray that I can just take out, mount to, and then put all the things back in. It's great. Same with the top radiator. So nothing's really like fully mounted the case, except this radiator down here and this fan and the motherboard, of course. And we're gonna go ahead and save some time, and I'm gonna go ahead and unplug this Corsair, all this stuff that's plugged into the Corsair, because we're gonna be rewiring the hell out of all this at some point. Actually, you know what? Let's just leave that in. I tell you, I don't have a plan for any of this stuff. I'm just winging it as I go along the broadcast. All right, let's tilt this back. Yes, all right. Yeah, it's filling up. And the good thing about using soft tubing is the flexibility, a little bit of play in the tubes, and it helps tremendously. All right, let's see if we can get some of this fluid into the reservoir, and that way we can get the rest of it out. Issue is trying to overcome this little loop bump in here. You know, I use clear fluid. It is definitely not going to be like fully clean. There's going to be some residue in this. This is how it is with this stuff. But it's hard to get all the fluid out of this, honestly. I think I'm going to have to just take the tubes, disconnect, and kind of work my way down, I think. I think it might be best to go ahead and undo the fans and get most of the fluid out of the top rad and just kind of work my way down. I think is going to be the best way to do this. So we're going to start undoing fans and stuff, and we'll work our way down until the water is basically left in this, and then we can take this out, or the fluid out, and we'll take these, because all this needs to come out anyway. The top and the bottom rad need to come out, and then we'll go from there. Well, let's get the old trusty iFixit kit. iFixit. If you watch Jay's 2 Cents, you know that reference right there. All right, I need to disconnect these fans because this whole thing's just gonna come straight out. And this is a mess. So I did need to just go ahead and disconnect everything from this Commander Pro. Like I said, I've got 2 new Commander Pros, or new additions, new styles I think will be way better. Yeah, we're just gonna disconnect. Because now their hubs don't need like RGB hubs on top of everything. It's all one thing. It's fan and RGBs in one thing, not just fans and like 2 LED channels, which I will be so much more thankful for. Okay, this is where the fun begins. This is the stuff they don't show in like the streams and stuff like that when like Linus or Jay are doing water cooling. I'm like, this is the messy stuff. All right, I'd like to tilt this back and try to get some more fluid out of this, but I just don't think I can. All right, then let's tilt this, push this back this way. This tube right here running to this GPU block is like really full. That's why I went ahead and put down this cloth here so I can make sure that the liquid doesn't get everywhere. Because that fitting is going to have to come out. And so is this one. Ugh. Yep, it's the things they don't tell you. Because you have to think about, okay, I disconnect this, there's going to be some fluid coming out. I need to be able to capture it into that bottle, but there's still going to be some coming out of this radiator, so maybe I can tilt it. Gotta watch out for the shelf up here. I hear that screw rolling around in there. All right. I've taken off the block a couple times, and that might be what I kind of need to really do. Is just take off the CPU block, and then that will allow me to kind of just take out most of the loop on its own. Then I can dump from there. I do have some more thermal paste, so hopefully it won't be too bad. Because I might flip the block around, so I definitely wanted to, it's gonna have to come off. And just for simplicity's sake, we're gonna take the RAM out. And we'll set that up there. That way it's not in the way. Same with the 24 pin. And we'll take out the front panel USB-C. Feel the tension releasing on the CPU block. And we're gonna put some thresh on it. Hey, what's going on, Brego Yagi? I have a magnetic stick or whatever. There's a screw in there. I will get it out later. Like, it just goes to that cover on the M.2, and I just was like, it fell off back there, and I didn't really care because I didn't throw that cover back onto him. Jesus, how long are these screws? I feel like it should be, yeah, it's off. You just have to be a little careful with that processor. I have like pulled that processor like out of the socket forcefully on some point. I was like, woo, that scared the hell out of me. Yeah, see, now I can move the block around and then like try to get some of the fluid into the reservoir if I don't get like thermal paste all over the damn place. There we go. We got a little bit of fluid into the reservoir. I'll tell you what, let me grab some paper towels and some alcohol real quick and kind of get some of that thermal paste off so I don't accidentally attract it. Because it's easy to get thermal paste all over the damn place. There we go. Get this plate nice and clean right there. I'm gonna get all this off. That's pretty clean, man. That came off really easily. No, this had stock coolant on it, or the thermal paste actually. I did not take off or use anything else. It was just whatever came on the block from Corsair. Which I heard was good, so I left it on there. But I think I have enough Thermal Grizzly. I'm not doing the GPU. I'm not gonna repaste that. Temperatures have been really freaking good on that, and I kind of just don't want to jinx it. All right, we got all that thermal paste off. That is a lot better. Oh, you killed a motherboard that way? It can happen. It can happen. All right, we got that done. I'm glad that is taken care of. We got a little bit more fluid out of the block and hopefully the radiator. You can hear that screw just the rattling in there. All right. Come on. All right, we got more fluid in. And let's grab the bottle and we'll dump whatever I've got that's come out already. Oh, this thing's gonna get heavier, honestly. All right, we get a little bit out of that reservoir now. It's going. This is a slow process. And then we get to like unscrew everything and get everything out. And then really see how it's all looking. Yeah, this bottom radiator is going to be the bitch to get all the fluid out of it. It's a great location, but it is going to be the trickiest part. How's my audio sounding, honestly? It probably sounds echoey, but as long as you guys can hear me, that is the objective. Make sure that's closed, yes. I said, just not having any sound treatment in the kitchen is going to be a little bad. All right, so we're slowly got some of the fluid out of the block. Into the reservoir, just little bits here and there. But it's just enough. I need just enough to come out of the reservoir, so when I pull some tubes and stuff, it should be just fine. All right, let's dump whatever's left in the reservoir in, and then we'll proceed to disconnect some of the tubing and go from there. Good, it's not echoey at all. Perfect. Nice having a lavalier. Oh, the fun part. Hey, what's going on, Crixus? Welcome in, sir. Yes, we are having fun getting all this fluid out. It is the most tedious part, but I wanted to take you guys along for the ride. Because a lot of people don't get to see this part, like the back and forth of trying to get damn fluid out of your damn case. All right, we're gonna pull these forward and we're gonna start undoing some tubes. Idea here is basically to disconnect this top radiator the best way I can and kind of go from there. I think I've got all the wiring undone from it, so should be able to just lift this straight out for the most part. All right, where's my bottle, just in case I need to dump some fluid out. I'm about to pull one of the tubes out. Are we good? We're good. Flicking fluid on my face. Flicking fluid. I don't have a new pump. I'm using my D5 that's attached to the bottom of that reservoir right now. It's going into the front distribution plate that I bought. So I will be disassembling the pump too and probably rinsing that out. So you'll get to see that. Because I don't feel like the pump is so good. D5s will last you freaking forever if you take care of them. And I've watched enough Jay's 2 cents videos and stuff to figure out how to take care of a pump. He's shown many a times how to do it. All right, here's the fun part. I'm trying to tilt this back this way, or back towards the front of the case, so fluid's going to come out of this radiator. As long as you keep the tubes above everything, we're good. All right. Oh, damn. I've got some cables still kind of connected back or zip tied or something. Oh, I've got them twist tied. Hold on. I didn't undo all my cabling. Forgot about the twist ties I threw back here to keep it all nice and neat. Oh, this is going to be a mess. This is such a mess of wires. Any of y'all worked with Corsair fans, there's one for the actual fan, and then one for the RGB, and it's a mess. That's why I like having this shelf up here, because I can just disconnect things and then throw it up there. All right, make sure all these fans are basically disconnected. Got 2 wires over here for one fan, 2 wires for the middle, or 1 wire for the middle actually. Where's my other one? Pull that out. All right, we got 2 for that, and 2 for that. We are free. Top radiator is free. There was not that much fluid in there. Like I said, a little bit down the drain is not going to kill it, but we're good. That is free. Radiator, top radiator out. Woo! Hot dog. All right, let's push this back up. So much of the wiring kind of fell down. I was using fan splitters in order to get enough fans hooked up. That's how many fans is going to be in this thing. It's going to be a lot. I'm happy just to get rid of these damn hubs, because there were so many of these damn things, and I don't realize how much of a mess these wires actually make until you start trying to like eliminate them or do something else. You're like, oh my gosh, so much. And it's still going to be a lot of wires, but hopefully I can kind of keep it cleaned up a little bit better. All right. CPU block needs to be freed. So we're going to disconnect this top tube here, and CPU block is free now. All right, it's hard to, I have to turn around in order to see chat. Ugh. Get that off. All right, let's just dump that tube in. Tilt this all over the place. All right, that's pretty much free. We're going to go ahead and disconnect all the fittings and anything else from this, because we're doing fresh tubing, all new fresh tubes. All right, CPU block is out. And I'll be honest, it doesn't look that bad. There's a little bit of crud in there. I will, let's grab the handheld and I'll show you the best I can of how this actually looks. So that's basically what it looked like coming out. Pretty clean. The fins don't look that bad. I think a little bit of hot water run through it, and I think it'll clean up just fine. Like really looking at it. Turn off the flash. Focus, focus. Yeah, the fins don't look gunked up at all. It looks really, really, really good. So I'm happy. That's nice. I'm glad we have that, and this is what I'm using for a handheld portable cam, so you guys can, I can get you guys in close to the action if need be. All right, I'm excited. I'm glad that did not really look that bad, and I think I can get this block off this plate, like twist off somehow. It's just a mounting bracket. There we go. I wanted to take that off. So the input is technically always on like the left or the right side of these blocks, so it kind of goes in and then out, which does make it tricky sometimes trying to do some of the plumbing. So I had it upside down so I could get the in on the left side, and I'm still really impressed. It's like a little bit of scuffing up underneath the acrylic on top, but not awful. I think a little bit of hot water run through that and it'll look good. All right, so we got the top radiator out. Let's flip over to the sink cam. That's what I'm referring to, this cam right here is sink cam. Oh, the GPU block. This is going to be the pain in the ass here. All right, first things first, let's get the retention and the little brackets off. And I need to look at the manual to figure out how to reattach the bottom plate for the vertical mount so we can go vertical mounting of the GPU in this. This is going to be a mess. Taking this block out is going to be probably the messiest thing I'm going to end up dealing with. In fact, I'm going to go ahead and throw down this cloth over the fans. At least it's on the fans and not a lot of anywhere else. All right, the graphics card's basically being held in by the retention bracket on the motherboard, so we're gonna try to support it the best I can. Grab this and we're gonna tilt down and get this tube into this bottle the best I can and go from there. Oh shit, I realized there is one other thing I got. I forgot the card here is attached to an RGB strip thing because it came with a strip inside the graphics card. And I need to figure out where that wire is. Oh, that is power. Where are you running to? Come on. Let's see. Okay. I gotcha. Just needed to pull that through so that way when I take the card out, that cable is not holding me back. All right, let's get this tube back in. Ooh, tag sticking up. Poke me in the back of the neck here. All right. Graphics card free. All right. I don't know if any of the fluid's really going to come out of this or not. Mainly because there's not any airflow in this portion of the loop. Well, there's some coming in from the pump. There we go. I'm going to be kind of gentle. Tilt this back this way. Thank goodness for rotary fittings. It's going to be tilting back a little forward. And then rotating back and then down. Yeah, there's fluid coming out. There is fluid. It is. It's just a little rocking back or whatever, and then a little forward. A little backwards, and then a little forward. A little up. And I don't think this is going to take a lot of the fluid out of that bottom radiator, so this is going to be kind of a pain in the ass to get that bottom radiator emptied. All right, I think that's as good as that's really going to get. It's just gonna have to kind of rest there for a minute. Woo! Nervous here, nervous. All right, there is an air bubble in the top of this tube, which is great. That means I can probably... I might have to still take this out of the slot. Come on. Fucking retention clip here. There we go. There we go. And I'm going to kind of tilt it back this way. I think this is just going to make a mess. Yeah, this is just going to make a mess here. All right, I'm just going to have to deal with it the best I can. All right, let's put this card back in. To the slot, hold. And we've got cloth here. All right, here we go. It's gonna make a mess. I know it is. Oh, not so bad. Not so bad. Okay, there's still fluid in that tube, but the graphics card is pretty much free now. We will disconnect that. Graphics card is freed. You can see some of the fluid still in the card, working its way through. But to just show you, it's not that bad. It's pretty damn clean. Sounds like a little bit of hot water running through this, and I think it's perfectly fine for to put back in. I'm very, very happy how that's looking so far. The cryo fuel from EK, not that bad. A little bit of cloth over here. We're going to at least lay this down on it. And we got some water or fluid still stuck in this tube for the bottom radiator on both ends, That just means if I take out this bottom radiator now, I can pull that out and then drain that and then pull the reservoir, and we're pretty much good. Woo! Main cam. All right. Whew. Get a little bit of water. This is coming along. It's coming along. Yeah, so hopefully y'all will hang out. Like I said, this is probably going to be a 2-day stream. I'm off today and tomorrow, so I'm working. I'll be back at work on Monday, but this is all I'm doing for the next 2 days is working on this. And I'm working on it until I'm just dog tired. I might take a break at some point, kind of sit down, but all right, now to get this radiator out is tricky. I'm gonna have to tilt back the case there and unscrew from the bottom. Unfortunately, it does not have a nice tray system like the front or this where I can just pull this out and get in. And I got to pull this filter out though. Which is not horrible. I do have a duster thing, so we'll be using that later. That's actually was really clean. What's going on, Linzer? Linzer Bunny definitely knows this kitchen because it's hers. It's her kitchen. Let's take all these wires and we'll tuck them in over here. Okay. I'm going to flip this thing onto its back. I want to make sure there's room. I'm not going to squash anything. Still hear that screw rattling around. All right, making sure that tube kind of stays up. This one right here, that's running to that bottom radiator, and I do not want it to like get above. It needs to be the highest point. So I have on this, there is a couple screws here for this bottom radiator, so we're going to get those out. Grab my magnetic tray and let's get to work. I don't have, I chipped out and only threw in screws except on this end because I'd had to take this bottom foot off, or this foot off, in order for me to get the screws for the radiator. So I did not screw it down on this end over here. But it's got, it was like 8 screws. I've got, what, 1, 2, no, I've got 8 screws instead of 10 through it. I think it'll be all right. Maybe this tip isn't, yeah, it's not a good tip for that screw. Always make sure to have boring emails as usual. That is too big. Ah, that's a good one. That's a good screw or bit to fit in. Big thing is going to try to remember where all these screws came from. But we're going to just pull the radiator all the way out from the bottom and deal with the fans accordingly. And lift it out, and then I'll undo the I think I'll leave these fans. I'm not sure about the fans full configuration, and because I don't know how I'm going to do the loop. So I am open to suggestions. I have a thick, about 60 millimeter radiator I bought, and that's either going on the top or the bottom. The question becomes, is I have a cross flow radiator, And it can either go top, bottom, or on the side. But the big 60 millimeter radiator is not going to work like on the side. So that's its only limitation there. But otherwise, I am open to suggestions on how to configure the loop. If you look up front distribution plate on the internet, you should see the front distribution plate that I am using for the View 51 from Thermaltake. There's only like one guy that makes front distribution plates for this case, and like from WV Tech or something like that. That's where I bought it. And oh good, I realized I didn't realize there was probably still some fluid in that damn reservoir, and I let the caps like right off. But I don't think there was enough to make it like make a mess. So we're still going to keep this tube up. It needs to be the highest thing in the loop. And we will proceed to disconnect all the fans from wherever the hell they're all hooked up into. And let's do a little more draining out into this. There we go. We got some more of that fluid out. I think the bottom radiator's pretty much drained. It will be whatever's left actually in it, but most of that bottle's full. I think we're about halfway. I've used it to top off here and there too, so I have that. All right, this is a lot of wires that are gonna have to come out for the next bit. Oh, my bracket backplate for the cooler and stuff. I'll have that up there if I need it. Yeah, I have, look at all this. This is a mess back here. It's a mess. There's all this stuff back here. You know what some of this stuff is connected to. I think this is where all those bottom fans are connected to this hub. We can disconnect that. Did I have all the fans? I think I had all the fans like plugged up into one thing. Disconnecting as much as I possibly can here and there, just because I know a lot of it's going to end up coming out. All these little lighting hubs and stuff. We're going to rewire all of these fans into the new hub, and it'll free up a whole bunch of SATA power ports. That's something that a lot of people are like, oh, you know, it's great to get all this RGB. I'm like, but every hub needs some sort of power to it. You end up just having a ton of freaking power sucked up, all because of some silly RGB hubs. All right, we're gonna leave this back fan wired up. I'm not gonna take it out, but I do want to tuck its wires that I have for it to the side at some point. And we're working on a few things here. All right, looks like I have some extensions for some of the fans. Yeah, I was running so much from the bottom up, so we are going to undo some of these extensions. These come usually with the 4-pin extensions for fans and stuff. They usually come with the Corsair stuff. Because even they realize that you may actually need to run things way across the damn system. And doing so is a pain in the ass. look at that. That's all to run the damn wire fans in my case. It's ridiculous. We're going to simplify that down because we're taking all that out. And these are the new Commander Pro XTs. I bought this one used on Amazon, so I hope it works. So the difference between this was that it still had 4 fans, PWM, but they took the other side and took out like the temperatures and stuff like that and basically put an RGB hub on this side instead of just having LED channels. So you can plug the RGB stuff from the fan straight into the Corsair without having to have a daughter hub off of it. This will clean up so much in my case. So hopefully this one works. I do have a brand new one too, so I'll be taking down from like sucking up like 4 or 6 SATA powers down to like 1 or 2 then, hopefully. So I'm excited with that. That is the new iCUE Commander Core XT. Let's take this out. And if you're curious how I was hooking up the RGB strip from the graphics card, because it's not a Corsair strip, I found these little adapters on eBay made by, there's a couple of people out there. I bought this one from one guy and another one from another, but it converts the 3-pin RGB into Corsair. Somebody figured out that the pinning on the RGB stuff really wasn't all that different. So I'm excited that I had that. And I bought another one because my front distribution plate has RGB in it too. Though the fluid's gonna be blue, so I don't know how much is really gonna show through, but it's there. It's there. And yeah, I have all this extra SATA power that hopefully I won't need moving forward. We're gonna go ahead and pull as much. I think that one runs up to that. Like I said, we're pulling all this Corsair stuff out for the most part. I think I had all 3 of those fans down there on some sort of PWM extensions just running away. So yeah, I'll be able to pull those out here in a hot second. We're gonna take the pump's gonna come out here in a little while. We got twist ties all over in this place, trying to keep the cables managed as best as I can. Is this free? This is just plugged up. Yeah. See, these are the fan hub things for just RGB control. We're taking those out. Such a mess. Such a mess of tubes and cabling. I think for the rest of this, I might just chip out and we'll take out like 24 pin, just get some of the cabling out of the back here, out of the way. I won't deal with those. What is this? This is tied down over here in the corner. Man, I did really good cable management. It's a mess. Let's go to the sink. So it's like I did good cable management back here. It's just, you know, when you got to undo it all, it's tedious. It's very tedious. All right. I think I'll leave this twist tie in because I'm going to leave the 8-pin CPU up there at the top end because I don't want to disconnect that just yet. Might do ahead and do the GPU cables and just take them out of the way because the graphics card is gonna be like one of the last things I'm gonna put in. Pumps free. Yeah, short of the 8-pin, I think that's it. I'm gonna undo all the SATA also, and that is way cleaner back there now for me to work in. And that's just mainly so that way I don't have to deal with all the cables and such. that? USB running all the way up. All right, we're just gonna do that. The 8 pins are gonna stay because I don't really feel like undoing those, but I do have like a internal USB header extension cable running from the USB header to the back here because the cable was not long enough. All right, so that Commander Pro, that's the old one, which had a USB hub built in and then 4 temperature probes, 4 in it. So yeah, we don't need that many. So they basically redesigned it, kept 6 hub, took out the USB, they like daisy chained off of the USB header for it. So that's some of the design changes. Plus, if I recall, the new Commander Core XTs have magnets in them, so just right in there. So much easier to work with. And that's really gonna do it for a lot of this cabling. I think we've got all the fans undone as best as I can, and I'll just pull those right through. Hopefully they go come out. I feel like one of these is like stuck. But considering the fact I can shift the radiator forward now, I can try to pull out all these cables through the grommet. Hopefully I don't want to pull out the power supply yet. If I can route all this stuff out, I'm probably gonna have to pull it out when I put everything back in. What are you hung up on? Oh, I feel like one of these cables got pinched up underneath the power supply somehow. Come on. Yeah, all right, I'm gonna have to pull the power supply. It's just in the way. It's in the way. It's in the way, everyone. Yeah, I think one of the cables got pinched up underneath it somehow. I don't know how, because I was very careful, like to run everything behind the power supply. Apparently not that careful. Power supply screws in the magnetic tray so I don't lose any. Actually, if I really want to be good, it'll at least lose some weight. Let's pull the power supply out anyway. I'll sit you off to the side. This thing's gonna get some dusting, so at some point I'm gonna mute the mic and like blow all the dust out of this if I possibly can. So we left the 8 pins. We're just gonna shove these in these hard drive cage up here. I left this in here just so I could tuck things away in there. Oh yeah, I got like a cable like severely pinched up in there. Holy shit, I hope it's fine. It's been working. But it could be why I was having some issues with my RGB settings. All right, that's all front stuff. All right, we are good. I can pull the rest of these. I think I'm done like draining as much as I possibly can through the tube over here. So I'm gonna go ahead and pull this out, cap it, and we'll worry about that later. And we'll put the cap back in on top of the reservoir. Oh, we don't lose it. Got some of the stuff up here. Oh, the joys of doing all this work. Feel a little bit of moisture around this. We're gonna cap that. Put that in there. All right, let's see if we, oh man, holy cow, is this thing so much lighter with the power supply out and everything else. Is like, whoo, that is crazy light now. All right, let's pull all this fan jumbo baloney out. All right, let's disconnect from the reservoir. We'll put this underneath here just in case there's some fluid that comes out. That was a little moist, so some stuff came out. And the bottom radiator is free. Holy cow, there was a lot more fluid in there than I wanted. Woo, that bottom radiator, not bad. It's a little bit of cat fur in there. Go figure. All right, that is good. We will drain, it is all drained. For the most part, we will figure out something to do with that. Let's wash it down. A little bit, it's not gonna kill the environment, but trying to get most of it not into the ocean is good. All right, we've got, I think I need to go get some more tools. Hey, what's going on, Philly? What's up, sir? Yes, I am here for this. Free the radiator. Yes, this is a big case. It's the Thermaltake View 51. It is basically a touch bigger than the Lian Li Dynamic 011 XL. But how's it going, Philly? Good to have you here. It's a stripped down stream, or else I do shout outs and all that stuff right now, but unfortunately I do not have that set up. I'm like ad hoc streaming setup in my kitchen. I'm gonna step away. I need to run down and grab I have a small set of, actually that iFixit kit might have what I need actually, because it has these little bits. I might not need what I need to go get. Just need to find the right bit, and I can use that to undo some of this stuff. This is nerd heaven. Yes, it is. Everybody loves coming in and watching people build stuff. It's so cool. That is the biggest bit I think I had. Oh, you know what? I think I have a magnetic thing. Is this magnetic? Yes, it is. It's the magnetic piece. Go iFixit. I don't think I have the bit. I don't think it's big enough for me to. You want my kit? No, I have the Manta kit. It's the big fucker. It's just that these little nuts that hold this bracket on are a little different. So I have like little flat wrenches, and that's right, and I'll need it. Yes, I love this iFixit kit. It is so worth it. But let me step away real quick. Let me run down to my basement. You know what? Y'all can chat. Y'all can just stay there. The good thing about having a lavalier pack is I can go anywhere in my house, and y'all should pretty much be able to hear me. I have like a small set of flat, like really flat wrenches and stuff that are really small that are perfect for what I'm about to try to do. And I have a workshop down in my basement, so it's easy to get tools. I don't have to like run all over the place. See, that took so much. So I have these little guys. These are from my great-grandfather before he passed away a while back. gave me this whole little box full of like flat, small wrenches and stuff that have proven so valuable over the years. There we go. There we go. I got what I needed. And we're just undoing. Uh-oh. All right, well, not coffee anymore. Sign fell down. It's dangerous working under this shelf. It's nice, but yeah. Gotta love old man tools. Yeah, I know. They like some of the shit back in the day was like the best. Nowadays everything's so cheaply made. It's like I use it and then it's break, and then you gotta pay like, you know, hundreds of dollars if you want like the good stuff. So we just got these couple little like nuts to undo for this whole bracket. This is designed to go into like a 120 millimeter fan. Clearly, I was not using it for that. Uh-oh. Dropping my nuts. They are super tanky. Yeah, they used to make everything out of fucking steel and shit back in the day. That's what it was. Like everything's steel. American steel. You know, and I don't blame them for making things out of steel back then. It was cheap to get a hold of. You know, the steel industry was booming. And, maybe I should get these undone. You just take the mount. The pump off first. Oh, you know what? There are little Allen wrench things on the side of this that release the clamp, and I might actually just be able to pull the pump out. There we go. I forgot that it's just clamped on there, so it really doesn't matter. The pump is free. And we're going to dump the rest of this. And what we're going to do is take the top off, switch to the sink so you can see what I'm doing. I'm like, don't dump as much stuff. Proceeds to dump like 3/4 of the fluid down the sink. All right, we're gonna undo the pump. Pump is free. All right, pump is freed. Shit stinks. It smells like antifreeze, kind of that fishy-esque smell. You're just like, ooh. All right, that's gonna make a big mess. The pump looks in good shape. We'll disassemble it a little bit more and see how it really looks. Back then, but built everything to the best of their abilities. Yeah, that's how it worked back in the day. All right, that little ring is for mounting that on that thing, but we're not going to be using that. We have our pump. So how this really works is it is impeller system kind of thing, and this is magnetically held in there and is very clean, as you can see, but it's just magnet, and then it spins in there as the magnet turns and everything like that. So there's like no can I say like any kind of grease or anything you have to worry about. We're just going to kind of wipe this out, kind of wipe off all the residue. We're going to take the O-ring, which we need to be very delicate with, and wipe it off ever so. This O-ring is essential. I do not have any extras, and they are a pain in the ass to get a hold of sometimes. So, but that's the inside of a D5 pump. Nothing crazy. I'm just gonna wipe out, let that dry out. Looks like everything is still good. A silicone little ball that's in there, that little white ball, just make sure that still looks good and intact. But I think we're solid. The O-ring looks still in great shape. And we're gonna be reusing this O-ring for sure. I'm gonna like wipe it out best I can. You can kind of use a little light diluted alcohol to kind of get it really clean, but it looks pretty good. And that's going to go on the distribution plate right on there. So we're going to set this off to the side. We'll get it back to that later on. We're going to take this little guy here. We're going to clean it. We might end up taking a little bit of distilled water and just kind of flushing this out. We might be able to just get away with a little bit of tap. Mainly, I just want to get the old fluid off of it as best as I can. Cut down on cross-contamination. We don't want it to be contaminated. The last thing we need is the blocks or anything like really getting good. I'm very impressed how clean the blocks actually are. So I think a little bit of hot water actually through them will be pretty good. Might stick in some distilled water. I can heat up distilled water and run it through, but we've got all the water cooling out of this in 2 hours and change or so. We've done a lot in 2 hours. Okay, I did a lot, but you get it, you get it. It's little tools and stuff. We're still not 100% done because I need to get the front fans out. Those need to come out because that's where the front distribution plate is going to go in, and that's where a lot of the main work is going to be coming from there. But overall, it's stripped down. You know, I got this out. I need to find that damn screw that keeps rattling around in here. It's somewhere in this case. I will find it. I will find you. All right, let's get this these front fans out. They're all disconnected. I do like there's a plate here. We are going to be reusing some of the screws in it for the front distribution plate, so that will be interesting. Because I don't know how this damn thing's really going to be mounted. I just kind of have an idea. All these wired up. Make sure they're free. Man, this thing gets so much lighter taking out all the hardware in it. It's just like, this case is nothing then. I went ahead and brought it upstairs without all the glass and everything on it because I was just like, this thing's gonna be super heavy. And I did not want to move this upstairs. Oh, that's a fan extension. Don't need that. Let's throw that in the pile. We can go ahead and remove this bracket too. Take this bad boy out. It served its purpose. Kind of squeezed it in here best I could to get it to mount the pump. That pump was tiny. Like, it worked really well in my previous case, which was an Evolve from Fantex. Evolve, it wasn't the Evolve X. I ended up having the original non-tempered glass Evolve like from a long time ago. And that pump looked great in there because it was this micro, it was a mid tower. This is basically a full-size tower. It's just, I kind of had to go to it just because of the, how much the space I needed for everything, really. And it feels nice to just have like a ton of space in the case where you don't have to deal with so much of the baloney in it. I have 3 of these. Where is the 4th one? Did it like fall out? Not terribly worried about it. It'll show up at some point. Or did I chunk it already in this tray? I did. I chunked it in the tray already. Like a good person. That's the old mount. Just some little clips has some, I couldn't line it up. Like it's supposed to have 1 or 2 points of contact here or whatever. I made it work. It came out well. Won't need that anymore. Will not need that. All right, let's get these front fans out. And we're pretty much good. We can start fiddling around with all the other stuff. And I'll try to find out where that one little screw is rolling around in my case here too. I got this off. Guess I have to undo these top 2 screws in order to get this off. But these fans also got to come off of this bracket because we're not going to be using said bracket anymore for the fans. This whole bracket's just going to go bye-bye. Watch a screw fall and just keep your eye on it. Do not lose track of it. And there we go. We've got those fans out. And we will detach those here momentarily. All right. This is pretty much nothing more but a motherboard with a processor installed and a fan in the case now. So not terribly all that much going on now. All right, let's see if I could rattle that damn screw out of here because now there's like super late. I hear it. I do not see it. I see it. And it's just for a cover that goes on like one of the M.2 slots. So we got the screw out. Stay there in the tray. And that's it. This is stripped down. We are ready for front distribution plate installation and everything else. And we still need to figure out how to get the vertical mount back in there. I'll try to get that. But let's go ahead and get these fans undone. And we get to go to the overhead cam. These fans are going to go elsewhere. At least the screws for like the fans is like pretty obvious. So hopefully the production value that you're watching is not awful. Excuse me. It's I did what I could. I've got a couple cameras up and running and you're able to at least see most of what's going on. It's no Linus Tech Tips or Jay's 2 cents stuff, but it's the best I can do. Ugh, this fan's really dug into the... There, that one's free. Got a little bitty twist tie here. But these fans will be repositioned depending on where we do with the radiators. And these are Corsair ML120s, the ML120 Pros. I think they have newer editions of these fans, but these are really good fans. I have 3 Corsair model fans in there. The back fan is a Light Loop 120 from Corsair, and the bottom fans on that bottom radiator were the QL series, QL 120s from Corsair, and then the rest were all Maglev or ML Pros. Good fans. Corsair makes really good fans, honestly. The RGB system, though, is what pisses me off sometimes. I've got on those 2 bottom ones, I had 2 LEDs out or not showing the right colors. It could have been because of the pinch wire that I just kind of run across. So that could have been a problem. Then there's like the software settings and sometimes just having a thing. I'm going to see how the new Commander Pros, those Commander Core XTs fare. And if they kind of do what I need, if it fixes the problem, then I'll be great. But if not, then I'm going to need to send back. Because there's even a dead LED, LED on my CPU block. So it's like, I love Corsair stuff, but sometimes they have problems with this stuff. All right, these are just stuck, but now that is off, and that is the tray. And we're pretty much going to be using the 2 screws I took off of the top up here, and then these 2 screws down here on the bottom, here and here, are going to go into the distribution plate. So the distribution plate can use this little bracket right here to determine, to get it in position. And I like that they put markers here so you can see 12, 14, and 200 right here. So you can see what rails you need to be using. Very, very, very clever of them to do that. You can see 12, 14, and 20. All right, the fans are free. We're going to set those off to the side. Let's get the front distribution plate out and go from there. All right, so we got some screws that came with. And that is the front distribution block we're going to be using in this. So it did come with an LED strip. You can see that little white strip on the side. It kind of shines in. I think I can take it out if I really don't want it. But it's kind of, it's in there. It's got a little adhesive in there, but the back kind of strip right here is a little detached. But yeah, we're gonna get this in. So this is where the trick is. Let me get something to kind of see the ports and stuff behind there. I will just use the box. You can use the box, it's not over bad. Just want to get some contrast so you can actually see the ports and what we're working with here. And we can zoom in, too, maybe. Hold on. That's the other camera. I have two Logitech Brios hooked up, so I don't know which one's always which sometimes. All right, we're gonna zoom in. Let's pull the field of view down to 65. Okay, so here's what we're working with this. Clearly, pump's gonna go right here. We do have a drain port like right down here, so that's it. Fluid's gonna come into this main chamber, so this is the entry. So my two ports that I have to hook up essentially are this one and this one. Those, because this feeds in and then this spits out. So the rest of these are optional. This will be like a fill port, and so the drain port, fill and drain. So I only have 4 ports that are absolutely required to kind of hook up. But you can see the problem with this distribution plate is most of these kind of things have like a longer tube to kind of go up and like connect into all this to help carry the fluid up, so you don't have to have tubing runs like come in and out at various different angles. So the conflict that I'm running into is right now is figuring out how I want everything to be positioned. It's really, 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 really tricky trying to figure it all out. Like, okay, where do I want and everything to come in and out? Because obviously I would love for this flow indicator to be used right there, but trying to get these to line up with something inside the case is something I'm struggling with overall. I have a couple plans. Let me go grab my notepad from downstairs real quick, and I'll show you some of the ideas and plans that I have for the design of this, because I don't know what I'm going with traditionally. I have four designs laid out, but either one of them any of them could work. It's just how much tubing do I want to run? Where's the mess going to be? It's very, very, very hard to decide how I want to have this all laid out. Zoom in even more. We're zooming. Boop. All right. Not the best, but we're going to see. All right. So let me start on this sheet here, because this kind of gives an idea of how things are going to be roughly laid out in the case. So we have a top radiator, we have the CPU block, we have the top radiator up here, another bottom, and then the side. This is the distribution block, and I kind of just lightly laid it out. Like you can bring this up, there's that part right there. This is the flow indicator up in this part. Fill up here, labeled as N. So every time I've kind of laid out my designs on the sheet, I've kind of got several plans. This is like B, C, this was A. This was my original plan on how to run everything out. So it was like out, I guess more light on this. Boop. There we go. So it's basically out of that distribution block on the bottom port down here, this port right here, out into the cross-flow bottom radiator. So this is cross-flow, then in, then out, and then trying to come back into this port, then out of this one, into the CPU block, out, up and into the radiator up top, and then out of that, and then coming all the way back down into this, in, then back out of it into the side radiator, in and out, and then eventually winding back into this port right there for the input. That is one design. That basically means leaving the crossflow on the bottom, putting the new 60 mil up top, and then doing my 25 millimeter thinner rad still on the side over here, which that's the big thing we're trying to figure out today, is whether or not the front distribution plate with the pump installed is going to interfere with the side at all with the radiator. So that will be a big determining factor. But the big radiator is either going to go up top or on the bottom. So it's just a matter of the cross flow either going on the side, which was one of the ideas, so that way it could carry the fluid kind of up and then kind of come across or so. It's hard trying to figure out what I was going to do. But maybe some of you out there have some ideas on how to do the flow. Like I said, I'm going to go ahead and get this front distribution plate in and then kind of work from there, because it's really going to be showcasing how things are going to line up right off the bat. So we've got nothing to lose except trying to deal with that right now. So let's get started. Most of the computer's clean. I might go ahead and do a quick blowout on there just while I've got it stripped down and kind of go from there. So give me a second to hook that up, and it's going to be noisy, and I'm going to mute the mic while I like blow super air through the whole damn thing. Got all this junk over here. I've still got old fluid I need to dispose of. I don't need anymore. My cousin was able to give me his leak tester, so I have that available. Being able to leak test is always helpful before doing anything. And I'm going to reset this camera back. All right, so I've got this DataVac duster thing, and it is going to be allowed. If you're tired of buying compressed air, buy yourself one of these bad boys. Super nice. All right, we are muting the mic because it's going to be really loud. We'll deal with that more later with the filters and stuff right now, but that cleaned up. Whew. We still got some tubing to disconnect from those radiators, and then we got to start flushing them. So we've got a lot of work to still do. A lot of work. And we're making decent time. I guess let me go ahead and get the... Oh, I didn't realize there is an O-ring in this. Inside this acetal piece. We are going to get the right tool for the job here. Does that work? That does. All right. First try. Somebody's calling. Phone. I should have shut off the cell. LTTstore.com. That's right, Breco. Water bottle provided by LTTstore.com, which is no way sponsoring or affiliated with this broadcast. All right, let's get this box out of the way. I'm going to have to wipe off this acrylic. Attaching this pump to this is like we're gonna have to be very, very, very careful to it so as not to over tighten and crack this front distribution block. It'd be so sad. I would be so sad if it cracked. There's always concern working with these things because you never know. One always tip is to kind of go around and like go around this whole thing and just kind of little, eighth of a turn or so, and just make sure all this is still tight and the O-ring is not going to leak. Not going to have any leakage. There's our handy dandy tray. Do not want to, these are not magnetic. They're like aluminum plastic screws or something like that. All right. I'm sticking with soft tubing there, Crixus. So I thought about doing hardline, but the extra costs, like I only needed to buy like a handful of fittings and like some fresh tube and fluid, and like trying to go hardline was like doubling, tripling the cost, especially with prices the way they are with things. So it's just cheaper for me to just go soft tubing, which is clearly got some benefits to it. I'm never truly disappointed. Man, there's like dust and stuff in this. All right, so we do have an O-ring that came with, and this is that. So let's grab the pump. We could probably leave its O-ring on. Luckily, now looks like I have an extra O-ring if I need it, which I could take off and use theirs, but I think it's fine to use the one that came with, that is normally with this. Or I could take it off. Let's swap O-rings. I'd rather have a thicker one designed to work with the D5 that the guy provided. Can push that, roll it onto the hair. Yeah, fittings are crazy expensive. Like as soon as I started trying to do price out hardline tubing, I was just like, I knew what tubing I wanted to go with. I was going to use some Corsair like frosted tubing. It looked so good. It would look so good. It was just super, super expensive to get all the extra fittings and stuff. So I just said, screw it. I'm just going to stick with soft tubing what I got because tubing is cheap. I use good tubing though. That is for sure. I use Mayhems. I started off with some EK stuff. I liked it, but it did discolor really, really, really fast. Clearly, no pun intended, the Mayhem's tubing still discolors. As you can kind of see, that's kind of clear. And then this is yellowed. But this isn't nearly as bad as the EK did. The EK gets bad. So I'm overall happy with the Mayhems. I think it looked out fine. All right, let's go back to overhead. All right, so the pump's installed. And yeah, I think that's going to be good right in there. I'm going to get these in by hand a little bit, and then we'll tighten everything down. And then we'll have to make sure that it's not going to leak. This is probably the one place that it would leak if the O-ring is not completely down. So actually, let me double check everything because I just want to make sure everything's lined up. And you get one of the Corsair black hard tubing. It looks so good. I really like their frosted tubing. I thought it looked fantastic, actually. All right, I think this is fine. The O-ring should fit in between here and here and then seal up against. I'm trying to think of the two. Do I want the wiring to go way down? I think I do. So I think I'm going to rotate this down like that. That way the wiring will kind of go down and out. Do this crossed over. Oh man, this is gonna be fun. It's gonna look so good once it's completed. Hopefully I'll get to I planned on doing drain to leak tests, but we could go all the way to fill tomorrow. I doubt I'm going to get all this done today because it's going to take, I need at least like a solid while to just clear out all the radiators. The radiators need a hard rinse, and I needed I don't know if I'm going to disassemble the blocks and clean those. They look pretty good, so I don't think I need to. I just probably run some warm water or some distilled water through them really good. I've got 3 gallons to work with, so we'll go from there. All right, let's start tightening this up, and hopefully the O-ring will compress and we'll have a seal. All right, let's go 1, we'll go across. Don't want to pinch the O-ring. So I'm going to get down nice and low. I feel like it's squishing it. It may not be in the groove really well. All right, I'm gonna back this out because I don't wanna have to undo this again, and it looks like the screws are bottoming out, and I don't wanna crack the acrylic because I can see the tapping, and there's like about a quarter turn left before they'd bottom out. So I'm gonna rework this a little bit, literally like on the knees, like getting eye level with this thing. It took me all day to do hardline runs. I want to redo it again, and I got the Alpha Cool hardline bending and measuring kit. That probably was worth the money. Like Alpha Cool is like the company when it comes to water cooling. That's kind of when I went with their fluid, though. I was looking at all kinds of blue. I was going blue fluid, and I wanted it to be dark. And surprisingly, there is a lot of manufacturers that have blue fluid, but it is not dark blue. It's like sky blue or something like that. So I was like, nope. I ended up finding 3 bottles of that fluid for sale on performancepcs.com, and I was like, that is what I want. That was good enough. They do make a UV version of it, but I did not really care for UV. I've never been into UV. Even back in the early days of like all that stuff. I was like, nope, just not a UV person. I think that's gonna squish relatively well in there. I did not wanna like force it. Especially here, that acrylic. I guess it's gonna make a seal. It doesn't feel like it would, like this should fit in there more. It really cool, but I feel like it doesn't last very long. Yeah, I always felt like the UV just also like the effect that it does just kind of wears out on me. I'm like, nah, I don't care about the glow. That's what RGB's for nowadays. It's like RGB everything. All right, I think that's gonna make a seal up around there. It just doesn't feel like it. Better to triple check. Yeah, I guess so. It just felt a little off. It's the first time I'm working with a distribution block, so I can get the same look with RGB. Yeah, it's just how it is right now. It's just like RGB is king. Now, I love seeing some of the anti-RGB builds where it's just blacked out. They have no lights in it, nothing. And sometimes I'm like, I really want to do that. There's also like that. I have a rack, a network rack, and it's like basically on the other side of the wall. So I could do like what Linus does from Linus Tech Tips and do kind of like the computer in the server room and then run like a Thunderbolt cable or so through the wall and like wire up everything. You know, it's an option to do it. I even thought about doing like one of those like MORADs or MORADs or something like that, where you basically run an external radiator, and I'm like, I could have that like on the other side of the wall into my workshop or something like that, and just export, you know, pump all that heat into a different space, and then I keep my room with the soft white light. Oh, it does look pretty good though. Then Crixus is like, all right, we're gonna tighten that down. It's like nerve-wracking with this because I'm like, I don't want to F this up. I fuck this up, it's over. Well, basically then I'm just gonna go back to having, I might have 3 and I just lose the distribution block if I crack it. This is $300, like would be down the tubes. It was a little less than that, but it was about $300 to buy this front distribution plate. All right, I feel like that's sealed up. I'm gonna do one more like quarter turn. All right, that's pump's on there. The pump is on there, and that's what it looks like. All right, now we got to get this into the case somehow. I felt like it's going to use 2 of those little screws, and it's going to go into top up here, and I think I still need to use this bottom piece. The guy didn't include any instruction. I posted a pic on my build in my Discord. Okay, I'll check it out here in a touch. Fortunately, I don't have nothing up here that's like showing Discord right now. Yeah, there are different screw locations for this bracket, so. I kind of had to look at this and figure it out like a lot, like how the screws, there's a screw here and another one right there. And we're gonna take these out and then move it on this bracket down here so I can attach everything. And we won't be using this. This will go back in the box. All right, so this is going to go on the bottom down here. I think that's what these screws were for, and I don't think I need these anymore. We'll just throw those in there. And maybe this is what these were for. Also, I think they're just additional screws for the radiator and then whatever else I need to get in. But all right, let's see. These go through. Oh no, no. Oh no, no. Those are not for that. I can tell you that. So we are going to be using the OG screws. Yeah, it's been a hot minute since I looked at your build, Crixus. That was a while back. All right, let's see if we can get this lined up. my thing is, I don't know if these screws, yeah, they're not even, they're just like going through this. They're not even touching. The plastic, like being able to grip it. Huh. And the screws aren't really like threading right either. So I don't know what he was using to mount this. Like, I get the top. Yeah, I need that bottom. Because otherwise, this isn't going to have a lot of support. So I got to figure out how to get this bottom piece on this thing. And I think it's these screws. Let me just do a slight fit test. Yeah, he threaded these for like what I used at the top. Those are different screws on the bottom for sure. Alrighty then. I don't know how he managed to use this plate to get this thing mounted onto it. Oh yeah, Corbin, this is definitely an involved project. Those are for the bottom. I might have to go into the box of screws. The box of screws. We're going in. Let's see if we can find two more basically of this. Because those go on the top of this block, and we need two more to go into the bottom. Fan screws, all kinds of other stuff. Let's check the box. That's all the extra stuff was. We're kind of looking for the same-ish screw to use. There's plenty in here, that is for sure. I think I found what I need. Yes. All right, so that was the plan. I think the guy just was like, you need to use two more. Actually, I had some sitting out. Perfect. Always keep your extra screws. I have a little sorter thing. I'm going to be taking all those screws at some point from all the various cases that I have and like combining it all into like one central thing so I can find all my damn screws. All right, let's see if these definitely don't fall through the holes and they look threaded correctly. All right, they're not like bottoming out, but it should be, it just needs to hold it. All right, let's flip over to the sink cam and we'll try to get this distribution plate. And that will be a huge milestone for the day. A little bit of water. Feel all professional with my lavalier pack and everything. All right, I was going to stick those up there. All right, let's see how this lines up. Actually, you know what I can do now? You know what I can do now? I can bring that computer case over to the overhead so you guys can see even better. Because it's super light now. Hardly anything in it. See how the main cam looks. All right, let's go overhead. And we can tilt this back. Or let's go. Yeah, overhead view. Got overhead cam, I've got a main cam, got a sync cam, and we do have handheld. So we'll probably use the handheld right now. There's a delay from that video feed because it's just using Wi-Fi to send the signal, but it'll do the trick. It will do the trick for this particular angle I'm trying to go for. All right, I think this has to go like this. I forgot there's like a little notch. That's it. That is how it goes in. Looks like we're both Corsair fanboys. We are. I will never narc on Corsair stuff. I really think they do pretty decent stuff. All right, I think these screws are going to have to come in from the back side. That way it'll actually mount the front distro plate to the case. And that is it. It's installed. Run program. I do too, Crixus. Like having Corsair like run pretty much everything is the way I prefer it. All right, front distribution plate is pretty much installed. We have a little screw down here at the bottom, kind of secure it to the case. I'm just going to finger tight. That's not going anywhere, anyone. That is, it's on there. It's on there. So you can see from the overhead. So I had two screws here that I kind of screwed in from the back side to secure it. And then the bracket down here has like a little slot that it goes into the case, and then like a thumb screw to secure it. So that's not going anywhere. My big thing is now trying to run all the wiring, because I just realized this port, like down here, that feeds to the back side, is really a pain in the ass now to get to. So I might have needed to feed like all the wiring first through, but we're gonna try to work this real quick and get this all sorted before I commit. Yeah, because I can't get the power through. Maybe. I can. Nice. All right, that takes care of that. Let's get the fan through. Or the PWM control for the fan, or the pump. And we're good. Cool. Cool. I'm using Molex, the SATA power adapter, so I don't have to run any Molex, fucking Molex, through my entire computer. It'll all be SATA. All right, front distribution plate is installed. Take these fan cables for that rear exhaust and just kind of tuck them away. All right, clean it up. Wow. All right, now we get to kind of lay this down. We can lay it down, everyone. We can actually see what the hell's going on. I don't think I need any of these extra screws that came with the case or the front distribution plate. So, all right, now I can be a little overwhelmed, but once you figure it out, you can do so much. My dude, my man. Go all yeah, that's right, Philly. Crix is in here. We're all hanging out. All right, so we can pull, if you want, I can pull this down so we get a little bit better view of what the hell's going on. Tools, kind of some stuff. We got our O-ring, spare O-ring lace now. I'm glad about that. All right, everyone, I can leave you guys basically with this image for a hot minute, and you guys can figure out, maybe try to help me figure out where all the damn tube, the stuff's gonna go. Remember, I have a 60 millimeter radiator, so it's gonna be a thick boy, a thick one, and I think I wanna put it up on top, but it can go down here on the bottom, but it definitely cannot go on the side. And it looks like I have enough clearance here that I should be able to put the radiator and fans here and not butt up against the pump, because that's the thing. You don't want the pump. There's a little bit of play, and I might tighten that all back up a little bit more. This really, it's like I don't want to over tighten the pump down, but I want to make sure that it's sealed up. You have enough for a mini fridge. No, it's going to be 3 radiators in here, Crixus. 3 radiators. One on the bottom, one on the top, and hopefully one right here on the side. So, order is what I've been struggling with the most. I have brought out a pen and paper, so I'm either going to do, I have 2 U-shaped rads and then 1 cross-flow rad. The cross-flow can either go here, or probably on the bottom, or it could go on the top, it can go on the bottom. But there's only 1 radiator out of the 3 that has to either go on the top or bottom, and that's the 60 millimeter boy, the thick boy. It's not going to be able to fit here. So I am really, really confused about how I really want to get a tube running out of this into a radiator first, and then kind of go from there. But this is supposed to be for like the GPU, these in and outs, and this is supposed to be kind of for the CPU in and out. I can sacrifice using these. I would just prefer to at least try to run into the flow indicator up here so I have some sort of movement. Would be really nice to deal with. I'm going to start trying to flush out the radiators real quick though. So I'll leave you guys here. Maybe you can kind of think about, help me try to figure this out. Remember, we got a fill port way up here. We got in, and this is basically out. So we know we have to come in here And we definitely know I need to come out here. This here is the optional through the flow indicator and then this little part. I don't mind sacrificing this, but I would love to integrate the flow indicator into this. And basically I have like a design kind of set up. So this is like in, out. This is the front distribution plate, kind of all the inlets and outlets, and then I kind of blocked out where the pump kind of roughly sits. But this is my original plan, was like having a radiator up here. I have a CPU block, GPU. We have the cross-flow radiator and another radiator sitting up here. But then I have alternate ideas of like putting the cross-flow radiator down on the side in the big boy, but I can face the in and out for the U shape on this, you know, outlets over here, in and out over here, or on this side. So that was like a plan. Here's another plan I kind of sort of come up with where I'm like skipping. I'm just going out, cross flow, up and over. You know, I'm not opposed to doing parallel too. You know, most of the time you do series, so you kind of go from the GPU to the CPU, but you can go in and out of both at the same time. Okay, I would probably put the RADs in first and then and probably have the biggest one cool the GPU. Surprisingly, I'm running a 3080 Corbin from MSI, so I do have a really hot, you know, pretty beefy. The graphics card is actually the coolest thing in my whole damn system. So what I was trying to accomplish is try to actually shave off a few degrees off the processor up here, primarily, and probably I was thinking of doing the big rad up top then. But I am open to suggestions. I have been racking my brain on this for weeks and weeks. And I have come up with, you know, like couple different designs. That was B and C. Here's like A's design, which incorporates like everything into the front distribution block. And it's a mess, the C. Focus in. Focus. There we go. And there's D's design there, which I was kind of using the cross flow to take the water up and then kind of go from there. But this was my original design. I was like, oh, I go out, cross flow over into the GPU, out the GPU, back over to like right here, then come up, out, then come out of that here, over to the CPU cooler, that block, in, out, then into the top radiator because it's a U-shape, so both of the ports are going to be on the same side. Then back out, and then coming over here, then going up, you know, coming out of that, then going into the side radiator, then back out, and then back into the top. The thing is that this area right here is a fucking disaster. I have a 3900X, Ryzen 3900X, 12 cores, 24 threads. It is a beast of a processor, so definitely no bottlenecking on my graphics card. It's just freaking determining how I want the loop to go. So that's why I was like, the 3900X is a hot beast. That thing will hit almost 70 degrees under load. Luckily, gaming, it's not that big of a deal. Gaming does not tend to really hammer the CPU all that hard, so it's been pretty good. Let me get this out of my face. But it is the hottest component actually in my computer. The graphics card barely hits 60 under load. It's like usually like well under 70 for sure, even 90%. All the memory, all the graphics card processing power being used, it stays cool. And that was with 2 radiators. It's a well-designed block on it, honestly. And I don't think the Corsair one's a piece of shit. I like the looks of it or whatever. And I think once I change out the thermal paste, it'll be a little bit better performing. But trying to get more cooling to the CPU so it can stay relatively cool is fine. I never see the temps go over. I think the hottest I ever got this thing was like 75 on the processor, and I was like running benchmarks. So if it's really warm in my office, it'll get up to like 72, but it usually stays in the 60s, and so does the graphics card. The graphics card on idle will be like 40, 40 degrees, and this is all 40 degrees Celsius. I'm using Celsius because most everybody has a good idea of how hot everything is when it's Celsius in the computer world, as opposed to Fahrenheit, because Fahrenheit makes your temperatures look astronomically high too. It's like, it's 150 degrees Fahrenheit, and you're like, well, that's like 40, like under 40 degrees Celsius or some shit. It's not that hot. So everything all the temperatures I'm shouting out are all in Celsius. So I'm going to leave this here. I'm going to get started on the radiators, like flushing them out, because that's going to take a while, but I can leave you guys with this like overhead cam photo and kind of, I don't know, see what might work for that, because I don't know. I am still just like, I don't know what I want to do with that. Excuse me. But I do have a lot of fittings and stuff I got to clean or take off, and all this tubing that needs to be thrown away now. So usually what's good about soft tubing is, yeah, you can throw it away, but I usually take all the fittings and everything, and I'll put them in a container and I'll rinse them out. I'll just kind of like, just agitate them in some distilled water. So I'm going to do that real quick before I like get rid of everything. And I usually save all my old tubing just in case for a hot minute. Ooh, that little piece right there in the middle, the tube that kind of fed all the water and stuff, or the fluid, got a little discolored. Doesn't look bad. Everything else in this EK pump res was nice. Block to the side rad, to the CPU, to the top, then to the cross rad back into the block. All right, let me see if I can follow that, Crixus. So, CPU block, right? Block to the, okay, so the distribution to the side rad, to the CPU, to the top rad, then come back through the GPU, and then cross rad back into the distribution block, or the plate. I'm sure you just refer to this as the plate. So plate and the block. So CPU block, GPU block, plate will be the front, and then the rads. Check Discord. I will check Discord now. I actually have it on my iPad. Let me pull up the iPad. Beep. Discord. Oh, I gotta log in. Son of a bitch. Let me get signed into Discord. I was signed in on my iPad. I think it signed out at some point. Come here, phone. Oop. All my login information on my phone. Discord, Discord, Discord. All right. Again, do my two-factor. Need two-factor. All right, we're in. All right, let's check my Discord session box. Oh yeah, Crixus. Oh man, that looks so good, buddy. Looks so good. It really does look like you did a really, really good job on that hard tubing. That black just, it's slick. It's slick, man. All right, so you did the sketch. All right, so we go, okay, so we could go up. All right, so you're talking, and that's not a bad idea. I gotta think it through. We're gonna think it through. All right, so Crixus came up with this design, right? Yeah. All right, so we got this here. All right, so, we have to still come out of the bottom down here, because this is the out here, as opposed to in. All right, so we come out. That's the side. I see the top. GPU in. All right, so we would come. We could go up. I mean, really, we could. Oh, we use the cross flow? No, we use the cross flow to come out and then back and come in. I need to dump in at the top. I think this would this is almost like one of my designs. Yeah, it's just this bottom right here, Crixus, trying to come out of that. I mean, I guess I could come straight out and into the GPU. Or we run up. It's like some of the tubing, this is going to end up being a mess up here, I think, with the tubing. But like, yeah, skipping out the flow indicator. Oh, I forget, like, the image is kind of like flipped on y'all's end. Or maybe, because this is supposed to be the right side, but it looks left on mine. It's not an inverted build. It just maybe flipped. I might have to flip the camera. This might be upside down to you guys. Well, I don't know. Let me know if that looks better or worse. Because everything to me looks flipped, but that could be just how the OBS is. And plus I'm having the camera like not be forward facing, it's upside down. So these Brios sometimes look a little funky. I don't know if it looks perfect or not to you guys. I'll flip it back. Because this looks fine to me in the camera. It's just opposite. Like, this is the left side, this is right side to me. All right, Crixus, so I'm kind of, yeah, it's tricky, trying to figure out everything. All right, let's just get over to the sink and let's start undoing some of this tubing and fittings and just doing some of the cleanup. That can sit over there for the meantime and mull over what the heck the design could be. I'd love to get that flow indicator and into the loop and into the mix. I just don't know if it's feasible. My fingers are going to be ate up after taking off fittings and all this stuff. I don't mind working with soft tubing. It's just so much easier to deal with. So I have a couple, like 45 degrees, I have like some rotary fittings to work with and like a couple, like one or two 90 degrees. So I don't have a ton of fittings, variety. I definitely don't have any offsets or anything like that. So have to keep that in mind. If you're like, oh, you could offset it a little bit or whatever. Like, I don't have any of those. Sorry. Sorry. I have this least T kind of splitter here, which has really been nice to use. I bought that at Micro Center a while back. And you're gonna have your drain valve, which I have a fitting. Right now it has like no fitting for like connecting straight into the block or distribution plate, but I have a male-to-male fitting for that. Probably didn't need to buy as many fittings extras if I did. I bought some Barrow fittings a while back, so they're good. Yeah, I got my fingers. The outlet is on the bottom right. Yes. So it's down here. So it comes off to the right of this, and there's a port right there, and then the enter is up here. Everything else is a fill and a drain. That's why I'm like, it's quite helpful to look at that diagram to see if all the text is in the right orientation, then you should see in and out here, and then and you see fill and drain ports down there. And that's basically the layout of the distribution block. Oh, my fingers are already getting sliced up. Probably should have worn gloves. So that's kind of what I'm working with. If I can get this fitting off. There we go. I want my drain to be done. These fittings off of the radiators. But yeah, this is going to be an intensive project overall. I'm like, it's probably going to take me 2 full days to really get everything done. But I will do as much as I can on stream. And like I said, I've got all day tomorrow to do this. Honestly, I think the tubing came out still looking pretty well. I think some of this is still EK stuff, some of it's Mayhem. I think that's Mayhem tubing, and this is EK stuff. You can see that Mayhem just holds up. It's not bad, it's not bad. We are gonna get all the fans off the radiators here in a minute, and that way I can really flush out the radiators, and then we'll work on the graphics card. And the CPU block. We're going to flush everything we possibly can so we have clean things to work with new fluid to go into. Sometimes these fittings get really fucking stuck on the radiators. Ugh. Yeah, so I've got a couple 90 degrees. I've got like a T fitting. I've got, some rotary angled fittings that are like 45 degrees. So we can really work with the tubing and make it try to flex as much as I possibly can to where I need it to go. Come on. I'm gonna get this collar off. There we go. Jeez. this card off. I might have to get this fan off here on this and try to get that fitting off right there, because it didn't want to come off. This is where I usually slice up my damn fingers, is on trying to get these fittings off the radiators. So I think we're just going to go ahead and take off all the fans. Let's get that done, and then we will work on anything else. Oh, looks like we got us. That's a Bannon. Banned. Yeah, I'm not buying followers. Not buying followers, people. All right, let's go to overhead. We're going to take this. We're going to set this guy off to the side. Let's get these fans off of this. We also need to clear out, blow out all this stuff anyway. Long ass screws. Trusty iFixit kit. Thanks for everyone coming out. I'll try to follow along, Chris, because I think you're right. I think I'm just going to need to pump in the radiators, get them mounted in there, and see how much space I'm really working with. What time is it? 11:30? See how far I can get. If I can get the radiators mounted and kind of get the loop kind of positioned where I want it, or relatively laid out, I think that'll be super helpful for today. Front distribution blocks, front distro plate is in. Then we'll get the radiators in and see how it kind of looks. And then tomorrow will be pretty much probably actually doing the actual plumbing if I don't get to it today. We'll see how far. The Crossrad is not my biggest. I have a U-shaped one that's going in. That's going to be the biggest. That's the 60 millimeter thick boy. The other two are skinny. They're the thin radiators there, Crixus. So the big boy is a U-shaped one, and it has to either go on the top or on the bottom. Ooh, these things are stuck. Not on here. Ugh. These fans are literally stuck on here. The rubber dampeners on these things had just really clamped in. All right, we got those fans free. Woo, that radiator's a little dirty. Not awful, but it's dirty. Right, let's see if we can get this. There we go, we got that fitting off. And so I'm going to take all that at some point here and dip it into some much needed distilled water. I'm going to take this rad off completely. We'll blow it out and then proceed to figure out where we're going to mount it. I used all the screws for this too. Maybe next time I put everything in, I might not go as heavy on the all the screws. I'll set up all three of the radiators here in a minute once I kind of get all the fans off and everything, and then we can kind of slowly position everything in kind of where we want it in the case. I'm going to take a quick break around noon just to kind of sit down for a minute, get some water, take a restroom break, all that fun jazz. Might eat a little something, but I'll leave the stream. The stream's going to be up until I am done, like, or else I just get to the point where I'm like, all right, that's enough for the day. We'll get to a good stopping point at some point throughout the day. I love the customization of this bracket here. Not only does it have like all the, for 200 millimeter, 140 and 120 millimeter, but this bracket here that like connects to the top of the case when you kind of sit it in there, has offset screws. So you can literally take this bracket and shift it over to the left or right depending on that. And it does it on both sides so it's equal. Super smart there. Thermaltake, they did a great job. So this is the thinnest U-Rad I have, and I am going to blow that out here in a hot minute. Whew, that is dirty. That's a dirty boy. All right, we're going to get this cross rad. We'll get all the fans off of it. Just want to get all the fans so I can figure out where I can see clearances a little better. I don't mind if the radiator on the back side, on the motherboard tray, the side radiator, has the ability to be inside the case or kind of on the outside of the case. So it can go in or out. I'm not particularly picky about it. The thing is with the side, I think the side is going to end up having to be a U-shaped one. And the big boy radiator is either going to go on the top or the bottom. I just don't think there's any way to get rid of that. And this radiator over here probably will go on the side just because of the way the case is designed. It's pretty much designed to have, if you're going to do a radiator, either way, you can have the tubing kind of face towards the back of the case or inside the case, but there's a cutout at the top. It kind of is designed to work with a U shape so that way you have plenty of clearance for fittings and stuff. And I did this cross flow on the bottom just to keep some of the wiring down, or tubing down, as best as I could. And technically these fans were pulling in, they weren't pushing out. What do you think about the one I just sent in Discord? All right, let's check out that design. Biggest rad on the bottom. Go up to the CPU, come out, back in, down to the GPU, back into the crossflow, and then come back up. That's not a bad design, Crixus. That might work. We'll take a look at it. I think we're gonna end up playing with the rad orientation here. I'll get the other rad out in a minute, and then we'll really start playing with that. But that might work. It's a lot of mess of the tubing. I think that's always the biggest thing, is trying to cut down on tubing, like cutting across a lot the case and try to keep it as clean and open as possible, but it's kind of unavoidable too at the same time. It's like it's going to have to cross and it's going to make a mess. There's just no way to get around it. It isn't bad, just it is what it is. As long as everything's plumbed and I get optimal kind of fluid and it's cool enough, I think it'll be all right. All right, we're going to set these off to the side also. Let's get this fitting off of this. Rags, always good. All right, all the radiators are now free. All right, I'm gonna step away for a hot second. I need to go to the restroom, and then we'll be back and we'll continue with everything. So I'm just gonna leave you guys looking at this beauty right here.